Hello everyone and welcome to Bourbon Bites. My name is Clifton. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. We are doing one of my favorite bourbons of all time. If you've been a regular viewer of the channel, you know Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is my jam. I've been loving it ever since probably 2017? I don't know, it's always been one of my favorites. So I just got the brand new batch from the folks at Heaven Hill. Thank you again for sending me this sample. This is the Barrel Proof B524, the latest batch. Oh, it finally focused. Latest batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This one comes in at 130.6 proof, 11 years, 2 months old. So I'm going to be giving you guys a live review of it here tonight. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, hello, good to see you. Not only that, but I will be comparing this to the B batches of the past 2 years. So if you've been watching for a while, you'll know that B522 from 2022 was one of my top 3 whiskeys of 2022. Actually made my top list. Now, what I do at the end of every year is I compare all of the batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So the A batch, the B batch, and the C batch. I put them in a blind flight. I go through, taste them, pick one to be a winner. Now, a lot of times it's very, very close. But in 2022, the B batch actually was in my top 3 whiskeys of the year, so it beat all the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. 2023, the A batch actually came a little bit ahead of the B, but tonight we're going to do the Battle of the Bs, if you saw the thumbnail. So, like I said, we're going to start with the new one. Of course, the newest release from Elijah Craig. This came out in May of this year, so right on time. And we'll give it a review before we get into the comparison to the other ones. Now, I'm not going to do this one blind just because I like to save the blind flights for when I'm doing the comparison for the best Elijah Craig of the year. This time, I'm not really fighting. I'm just kind of seeing how it's going to compare to the past few B releases, which have traditionally been pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and say hello to a few folks here in the chat before we get going. Thank y'all for tuning in live this Thursday evening. I know quite a few of you are at Perry's meetup, and this is my Bourbon Podcast weekend. Those of you that are there, I hope you are having an amazing time. I wish I was there with you guys. I have a trip planned. I'm leaving on Saturday. We're going to go to Mexico for a few days, so couldn't quite make it this year. It's always the dilemma because it's like wedding anniversary, whiskey meet weekend. Like I'm like, I want to go to both, but I think wedding anniversary kind of comes out ahead. But hopefully maybe next year it might be another weekend. But cheers to Perry and everyone involved with that. Hope y'all are having a great time. Just get a copy of the chat. Taste and sensibility. What's up, Doug? He says, cheers, everyone. I dragged out some of my Bs. Oh, nice. Let us know which ones you have. Love to hear your thoughts on what you're drinking along with us. Brandon is back from vacation. Yes, I can't wait to hear all about that. Brandon and his wife went to Italy and saw amazing photos. They posted on our Discord server. By the way, if you guys are not yet on our Discord server, check it out. It's a fun community of all your favorite whiskey-loving friends. There's special rooms for people that are patrons, but everyone is welcome to join the Discord, so I'll drop a link. If you're not yet there, come join us. Come say hello. Check out our travel photos. Em's here. What's up, Emily? She said all I have are C's. Hey, nothing wrong with that. The C batches are fantastic. I actually picked a curveball. If we end up wrapping a little bit early, I grabbed a brand new bottle of the C923. This is the one that kind of like made people go crazy, right? This was the one that was the 13-year. It's 133 proof, so pretty similar to the B batch for this year. So might do a little comparison at the end if we have time. But again, I want to make this Battle of the Bs tonight. Zopher's in the chat. What's up, Zopher? He says ECBP night. Not sure which ones I have. I think I killed a C bottle last month. Well, grab what you got. Even if you don't have the barrel proof, grab a small batch. Just join us for some Heaven Hill goodness tonight. Swan says, look at all these wonderful people. Look at you. Good to see you, Swan. Hopefully we can see you and hang out a bit tonight if you're not busy. Love to see you. James Taylor here as well. Donnie. Good to see you, Donnie. Did you change something there? Is more light? I don't recall. No, the window's been there. It's just the time of year. It stays brighter longer. So for me to get this full view, I have to get the window in the shot. So hopefully it's not too bad. As the night goes on, it'll slowly get darker. Just that time of year here in Southern California. Unfortunately, not going to make it to the meetup. Oh, do you mean to Perry's? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Well, hopefully you can maybe make it to our hangout tonight, and we'll chat. Are these the bee's knees? I hope so. Thank you, Donnie, for mashing the thumbs up. Click subscribe, ring that bell button, and choose all so you don't miss a notification. Go live here every Thursday night. Y'all know this, but some of you that may be new maybe you don't. Every Thursday night. I will be live next Thursday. Like I said, I'm on vacation, but I return Wednesday night. So I do have a plan for a stream that Thursday. So you won't be missing me. You probably won't even know I'm gone. But good to see y'all here. Oh, well, Ty said it looks great. Well, yeah. Again, I can't control the weather, but I'm glad it looks nice. Run Rev Collins in the house. What's good, man? It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. All right, so let's go and get the newest Elijah Craig barrel proof in the glass. Like I said, I just received this a couple of days ago from Elijah Craig, or from Heaven Hill. B524, 130.6 proof, 11 years, 2 months. Now, if you didn't know, last year they started putting age statements on each of the batches. Yeah, so our 22 was the original 12-year age statement that all the Elijah Craigs before it had. But now, starting in 2023, they started putting on the specific age statement, which is pretty interesting. So, we'll see, you know? We've given them a full year. This is actually the 1 year anniversary of them switching it, right? Because I think the A batch of 2023 still had the regular 12-year age statement. Then the B batch of 23, which is the one that had the 11-year 5 months. So, this is a full 1 year. They've had 1 year to get this right. Let's see how they do. So let's go and give a nose to the B524. Cheers. Oh man, listen, this is my first neat pour of the night. I'm like loving it so far. I mean, it's everything that I love about Heaven Hill, just on the nose alone. It's just that desserty. I always feel like I'm repeating myself, but I talk about this whiskey so much that I feel like I've gotten the notes down pat, and I feel like I just say them every time because it's consistent, and consistency is a really good thing in whiskey for me. This one, honestly, you know, even though it is that 11-year 2-month age statement, which is relatively young compared to some of these other ones, the oak is coming through. It's almost more oaky than sweet, which isn't a typical Elijah Craig kind of thing. Sometimes I get that on some Jim Beam products, but not quite Elijah Craig. A little bit of like a cigar box kind of thing going on there. Not quite cedar. I almost wanted to say cedar chest, but it's not that kind of like sour. I always think like cedar is like a sour oak. This one's just more of a dry, old. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely jumping out of the proof. I mean, 130.6 is no joke. You can tell there is some significant proof on the nose of this whiskey, but I can't wait to dive into it a bit more. I'm actually going to pull up a whiskey tasting wheel because when I'm getting into the nuances of this, I feel like I don't want to repeat myself. I kind of want to like explore, see what I get on it. Let's see. Let me pull up this. I always use a different wheel, by the way. I don't stick to the same one. I like seeing what I'm feeling for the moment and seeing, because I feel like if I get to know a wheel, I'm like, I'm going to look for those flavors. But now I'm just going to pull up a random one. Let's see. What are we getting on this one? Tobacco. For sure, that kind of goes along with that older oak note. It doesn't quite smell toasted on the nose. It definitely has some older age of it. Not the wheel of whiskey. We haven't done one of those in a while. I need to. My bot broke. My bot that tracks our wheel of whiskey entries is currently not working, so do not have the wheel of whiskey tonight. But yeah, this doesn't quite have a toasted note. It definitely is more of a new oak, but it's a new old oak. New, fresh oak, but it's been aging for quite a while. Yeah, it definitely has some age to it. The sweetness is there once you look a little bit past the I don't want to say over oakness, but the overwhelming oak you get on the nose. There is a little bit of that, you know, the traditional vanilla. To me, it's almost a crisp kind of note. Do I want to say citrus? Citrus is something I normally get on Elijah Craig, but there's a little bit of like a lemony kind of thing going on there, like but lemon and sugar, kind of like I don't want to say meringue. It's almost more like a lemon beignet. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but it kind of has that powdered sugar note with like a hint of lemon. Really nice, really different, honestly. The more I get into this on the nose, the more I'm finding those nuances. Yeah, well, before I give that a taste, I'm actually going to go ahead and pour the other two Bs so we have them a fair chance to open up. Now, full disclosure, these have been open for a while. This one's from last year. A little over halfway gone, but, you know, The 22 and the 23, this is a relatively new bottle of the 22. Yes, I buy multiples. These are not all just the original bottles sent to me by the brand. I love to buy backups to my backups of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So while that 23 might be the original one that was sent to me by the brand, this is definitely a backup to my B522, which was one of my top 3 whiskeys of 2022. So, all right, we got all 3 poured. Color wise, honestly, what is the age on this one? This is the old 12-year age statement. I will say there's a pretty noticeable difference in color between. What is that? That one's also 11 years. I will say the 24 and the 23 are pretty noticeably lighter than the 24 on the color wise. Now there's not really a way for me to show this on camera, but the color on the original, the B522, the old 12-year age statement, is noticeably darker. It's not, it's not like extreme, but it's noticeably darker when I'm sitting here looking at all 3 of them side by side. But color's not everything. We do know it's the oldest of the 3, but maybe that's not everything. So 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 means you have a backup. There we go. That's kind of how I feel too. Especially with some of my favorite batches. I always buy backups. All right, so we've been nosing the B524. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers. Okay. Oh, so good. I don't... It's so hard for me to be like... I'd love to be like, oh, I have a new favorite whiskey, but Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is just consistently my favorite. It hits all the notes that I really love on a good bourbon. And this year's release is no exception. I mean, it has an interesting spice that kind of lingers on the back of the palate. Not necessarily a rye spice. It's almost like a black pepper kind of thing going on. On the back end, up front, it's still that sweet, desserty goodness that you love about Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Yeah, this is like a baked good. Sometimes in the past I've said fruit tart. I'm not getting as fruity on this. This one's almost more, like I said, like the lemon. Lemon's there a little bit on the palate too. It's kind of wavering between like a lemon note and a just like a glaze, like on a donut note. But I mean, that's so sweet, so desserty. It makes my mouth water because of how sweet that is. Donnie says, anyone else getting the new layout for YouTube? I did not know there was a new layout. No, I haven't seen that, Donnie, but sorry that you hate it. I didn't do it, I promise. I didn't break it. Oh, man. That is just an excellent expression of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Now, if you don't know, like I said earlier, I do a blind flight of all batches every single year. So we have the A batch and the B batch for 2024. We do not yet have the C batch that'll be coming in September. So if you want to make sure to watch that comparison between all batches of 2024 to see my favorite in a blind flight, make sure to subscribe. I'll be doing that obviously on a Thursday night. But yeah, I can't wait. I always look forward to doing those. One of my favorite streams of the year. But this was a little bit different. We're comparing the Bs through the years. Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't want to drink it all right now because I couldn't. Trust me. Oof, so good, so good. All right. So my impression before I go into a comparison to the other B batches, B524 from Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is exceptional. It is so good. Everything I love about this brand is in this bottle. I've not read any reviews. I know that a few other channels have gotten this bottle as well. This is my honest first impression. Well, I say first impression. I've been drinking this for the past couple days. But yeah, 130.6 proof, great proof point. 11 years, 2 months, a little bit lower than the 12-year that we're used to, but pretty dang close. So that's a winner in my book. I can't wait to see how this compares in my blind flight between A124, B524, and the upcoming C924, I assume. Unless something goes horribly wrong. So make sure to subscribe and come back for that video. So, cheers. So that's my review of the B524. Now let's go back in time. Let's go back to 2023. Can we all remember 2023? If you're like me, the past 4 years have been all mushy blur together. So I do know that this one did come in. This one was not quite as well received. I don't think a lot of people liked the one from 2023. Sorry for the loud noises. I have limited desk space here. This one was 124.2 proof, so a little bit lower proof, but 11 year, 5 months. So almost the full 12 year. Like I said, this is the first one that was not the 12-year standard age statement. They normally had that side panel here. Normally there was a thing that said aged at least 12 years. So they did not, this is the first one that they removed that from. But that doesn't mean it's bad, right? Zover said Clifton's second, third, and fourth first impression. This is my first YouTube impression for you guys. So, it counts. It's on the record. What happens on our Hangouts is off the record. Alright, let's go ahead and nose the B523, last year's B batch. Less of the oakiness up front. This one goes straight into that sweeter characteristic. It's less. You know what's funny is this one, I got lemon so much on the newest one. This one is just more of a generic, I don't want to say vanilla, it's like somewhere between vanilla and honey. A little floral. You know what, it's kind of reminding me, maybe this is the one that I said that kind of had like a bit of a honeysuckle note to it. A little bit of a floral honey, very light. Not much oak at all on the nose of this one. Still very sweet, still very bakery, the traditional Heaven Hill notes, but yeah, I mean, it smells great, again, but compared to the B524 was oak forward and then a bit of like a lemony sweetness. This one is just sweet. Sweet honey, a little floral. It smells good. No complaints there on the nose, but let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Okay. Going back to this one, I can almost feel like, now, do I know what 2023 Cliffy was thinking? No. But I can almost see why I didn't rank this very highly last year. To me, this one is kind of a little flat. It's like kind of one note. It has that sweet kind of, it honestly goes a little bit, the proofiness on it's a bit astringent, which even though it's lower proof than the one we just had, it's a bit astringent. It kind of, it lingers on the palate, but not necessarily in a good way. It's kind of in a, just kind of like, let's be real, it kind of just kind of burns, even though it's lower proof. That wasn't a great first sip. Let's give it another sip. Let's see if that sticks around. Yeah, it's big up front, kind of like that floral potpourri kind of like generic kind of thing. And that's really hard to describe, but I don't love that note. I think that's why I didn't do as well last year. It's drying. It definitely dries out the tongue, but it doesn't necessarily carry with it that oomph that I love about Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. And I'm pretty sure when I first reviewed this, I probably said, oh, it's just as good as the original, but trying it next to one, it doesn't hit the mark for me. It definitely misses a good bit. Zover says, speaking of floral stuff, this week lots of jasmines in bloom everywhere, especially at night. I haven't. We do have some of our trees outside are blooming. I'm not sure what they are. They have yellow flowers, very slim yellow flowers. Not sure. Jasmine, is that jasmine? Jasmine's like a flower. Listen, I'm not a plant person. I'm a whiskey person. But we do have some trees blooming some yellow flowers. So I'm not sure. Maybe, let me know. I don't necessarily get allergies. I'm getting over a cold. So this time last week, I was just starting to get sick, and it's been like a full week now. I think it's getting better, hopefully before I take an international trip. But I've been kind of stuffy the past few weeks. Maybe it's the jasmine. Maybe it's not a cold. But yeah, didn't quite notice, but you never know. Seasons change. All right, let's go ahead and try the B522, which again, I keep saying it was one of my top 3 whiskeys. It was my number 3 whiskey of 2022. The other 2 were not related at all. They were definitely more higher end whiskeys. But let's go ahead and try the B batch from 2022. Gosh, 2022. That was when we were finally starting to feel like, oh, we're kind of out of COVID, right? Oh, that nose. I like that nose a lot. What was the age on this one? This was back when it was 12 years. So the age was 12 years. It's 121 proof. It's actually lower proof than everything else we've tried tonight. Interesting. Really love that nose. You know, I said the other one wasn't like quite cedar. This kind of has a bit of that bite that I associate with like a cedar wood nose. Definitely leather. I got leather on the B524. I'm getting leather on the B522 as well. Not quite tobacco. It's more of like an older, Not quite as oaky. There's some oak, but it's not quite as old smelling as the 24. I mean, but that smells honestly. If you told me this was like some like really expensive whiskey, I think I'd believe you. Because I mean, and of course, expensive is subjective, right? For some people, that could be a $60 bottle. Some it's 80. For me, when I'm saying expensive whiskey, I'm thinking like 150 plus. On the nose, that smells like a really good whiskey. Yeah, a good combo of sweet and spice, honestly. Not like a corn sweetness. It's definitely so. I said the first one was more like a lemon pastry. The second one was more like a honeysuckle honey pastry. This one, I guess I would go butterscotch. If I'm going for like what type of sweetness the B522 is, butterscotch, but it's not like the candy. It's definitely a pastry. I don't know if they do that, but it's like a pastry with like a butterscotch filling. Smells delicious. Cannot wait to revisit this one again. This is one that I bought backups of. I haven't tried it in a while, so let's give it a try again. Cheers. Ooh. Wow. These all give you such a different experience on the palate. This one doesn't even get you up front. The front and mid palate are kind of like muted, but like it lingers on like the mid to back part of your tongue and just kind of like fills your orifice with all this kind of smoky, toasty goodness. This one kind of has that toasted oak flavor that I've been missing on the other ones. This one, like, it just kind of like fills my palate with like a mmm. It fills it with a mmm. That's my review. Um, let's see what Doug says. He says B522 is a little spicy on the finish. Yeah, to me, this one lingers on the back of the palate. It sticks around. Wow, that is a really good one. I see why I picked it one of my top 3 of the year in 2022. Oh my gosh. That's so interesting up front. To me, it doesn't. It just skips the front of the tongue, which sometimes could be a bad thing, right? But this one, it makes up for it once it hits the back palate. It fills all this with an oaky, smoky, oily goodness. I love that. That's delicious. Wow. That makes it hard because I loved B524 as well. Now I gotta go back and pick my favorite. It's gonna be hard. I do know that the B523, compared to all 3 of these, was my least favorite. It didn't make my top list of last year. Didn't quite do it for me. The B522 is delicious. Let's go back to the B524. See how it compares. It's a 2-year difference now. Age statement removed. Not removed. Age statement changed. No longer guaranteed 12 years old. Oh, going back to that B524. That lemon note is still there. Lemon sugar. Not sour. It's not like a sour lemon kind of like pledge note. Like a lemon donut or a lemon pastry. I could smell that all day. I mean, on nose alone, they're supposed to so good. I would say on the nose is a tie. B524 is like a lemon dessert. B522 is like a cedar chest, a little bit of that older leather. I mean, both are fantastic on the nose. Again, the B523, last place on the nose. It's a little peppery, little floral. Not quite my favorite nose. Honestly, that kind of smells almost like a... If I was doing this blind of all these, the 23 kind of smells like a Four Roses, actually, which I know like floral Four Roses. But for me, I get floral on Four Roses. Wow, blame me. But no, it does have a little bit of those, like the spiciness that I get on Four Roses. Maybe that's why I don't love it. I'm not the biggest Four Roses fan, but yeah, the 24 and 22, absolutely amazing on the nose. Oh, can't wait. All right, you know, the 22 going back and forth like that. The 22 almost has a little bit of like a cinnamon toast crunch note, not as much as like an Amberana cask. You know, no, if you tried some Amberana, whatever it is, cask whiskeys, those have a really strong cinnamon sugar flavor. This is way more subtle, way more subdued, but it's still a very, very good note on the nose. Now let's talk about taste, right? What's up, Big Vic? Cheers. Hope you are doing well. By the way, Matt is doing, for Matt Madness, he's doing a poll for his patrons for participants in the Matt Madness Whiskey Tasting Invitational that he puts on every year. I got selected for the 2nd seed, so I will be competing this year. Not sure when, but he hasn't put up a poll lately. But you guys make sure to go check out his Patreon. Vote for your favorite channels that are in there. I think Big Vic isn't. Big Vic, you haven't made it officially yet, but you're on the list. I think you're on the list. I've seen you. But yeah, you guys go vote, sign up, and vote for your favorite Whiskey Tube channels to compete for Matt Madness. I've lost 3 years in a row. You know, probably lose again, but it's so much fun. All right, palate on the 24. It's mouth-filling. It really fills up the mouth. Up front, it almost has like an herbal kind of like, I don't want to say like black tea, because black tea has a very specific note, but it almost reminds me of drinking a tea, like an herbal tea. Mid palate and back palate, I would say not quite as intense as the 22, but overall, it feels very cohesive. It almost feels like it dances from the front, mid, to the back of your tongue, all the way down to the finish. Really like that experience. Let's go back to the 22. This is going to be a close call for my favorite, palate-wise. Man, that's so tough. As someone that's so experienced with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and like has tried pretty much every batch since 2017, this is a hard call because I like them both in totally different ways. The 22, it does that thing where it doesn't do much up front, hits the back and like fills like you feel the vapors coming from the back of the palate. And it really does have a really nice, smoky, kind of like toasted kind of thing going on. The 24, the newest batch, it hits all the flavor points I want. Tip of the tongue, mid palate, back. Not quite as intense on the back as that one. It doesn't have that toasted oaky, or it does have the oaky, but not the toasted. So it's not as sweet. It's more of that lemon, powdered sugar, old oak. I like it. I mean, this is tough, but I think if I want to pick a favorite palate-wise, very, very, very slightly goes to the B524 from this year. The B522, both incredible whiskeys. I think I like the overall experience of 24 better. 23, again, on palate. It leaves something to be desired. The ethanols get you. And you got little spikes of spice, but yeah, the 23 just doesn't quite do it for me. And as you've seen in my blind flight from last year, it didn't either. It didn't do too well there either. So on the nose, they tied. On the palate, the B524 edges out just a bit ahead, meaning that technically the B524 beat the B522, but very, very close. Both incredible batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I want to say hello to some folks: Mr. Whiskey Shits, JD Bourbon Approach, and Mark Ebenecker. B-Batch hits early around here. Yeah, I mean it's May, so technically it's right on time here. But if you guys have not tried B524 yet, seek it out. Even if you dismiss the B523 from last year, I think 24 goes back to what we like, what we're used to. But I do want to do one more comparison. We got some time. We finished a bit early for the regular flight. I do have one more pour. But before I pour that, reminder that I go live on Thursday nights. Hit subscribe. Join our Discord community. Seriously, link's there. Come hang out. What's up, Mash and Drum? What is up, Jason? Good to see you here in the chat. You guys make sure to check out Jason for the Mash and Drum. Amazing stream, even more fun after parties. I've joined a couple of his Patreon-only things. They're a lot of fun. So hope you're doing well, Jason. I miss chatting with you every week. So good to see you. Well, you're just in time for my final pour of the night. We are going back to the one that everyone went crazy for. The batch that everyone's like, if I'm going to buy a batch of Elijah Craig, even people that didn't even know what Elijah Craig Barrel Proof was, they bought this batch. So I'm opening a brand new bottle of it. Yes, I've had several. This is like my third. Again, what we said about backups with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. A backup is just one. A second backup is like, need a second one. You gotta have at least 3. Just kidding. I know it's one of my favorite whiskeys, so it's hard not to buy it when I see it. By the way, we didn't mention retail on it. They did send me a press release. Let's see if that's changed. Ooh, I can't reach it. All right. Press release from the newest batch. Everything we already know, everything we already talked about. The retail on it is $74.99. Yeah, and they're still expecting the third batch for September of this year. So we will get a C924 if everything goes according to plan. But yes. Oh, people already know. System Trend already knows what's up. C923, yes. This is the one that everyone sought out because it's older. It's older than regular Elijah Cook barrel proof. 13 years, 7 months. It's high proof. It's 133 proof. This, of course, is C923. It actually was not my favorite of last year. As I said earlier, my favorite last year was actually A in a blind flight. Now, C923 did better than B523. B523 just was a miss last year. I don't know. But the past couple, this year and then 2 years ago were great. So we're going to pour a little bit of this 13-year Elijah Craig barrel proof. Again, let's see. Let's revisit it a year later, almost a year later. What is it, 9 months later? And see if the C holds up. Like I said, I like this one, but it didn't win. Last year, the A batch won for me blind. Now, this is a brand new bottle. Everything else we've been drinking tonight has opened up quite a bit. So let it sit there, take a little water break. Don't forget to drink some water tonight. And by tonight, I mean all of Memorial Day weekend. By the way, shout out to all of our amazing people that are currently serving, people who have served in the past in the military, people we've lost in the military. You guys are incredible. I don't think you guys get enough credit. And yeah, shout out to our veterans and those that have been lost at war. Hope everyone is supporting your military families and your military relatives or friends. Families, relatives, same thing. Supporting your military friends this weekend. Celebrate them, celebrate the lives and just the cherished memories you have with them. So yeah, let's go ahead and nose the C923. Ooh, that's hot. Oof. Now, proof-wise, it is hotter than everything else, but it's not that much hotter. Honestly, I get a little bit of that lemon note that I got on the B524. I mean, the ethanol is up in here. They turned it up to 133. It is the highest proof one we're drinking tonight. But once you get behind that high proof, definitely sweet. I mean, probably sweeter than all of these. Yeah, that's more of a caramel kind of sweetness. This was that lemon pastry. This is just straight up sweet. I mean, I love it. It's a really good. It's almost like a honey glaze. You know, I said earlier it was like a glazed donut. This is like a honey. Instead of a glaze, you put a honey spread on a donut. Oh, smells delicious. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Why do I feel this way? I don't want to get myself canceled, but was 2023 just a miss year for Elijah Craig barrel proof? I don't remember having that opinion myself. I avoid reviews of Elijah Craig because I don't want to be influenced. I want to have just my own opinion of it. Do other people feel the same way? Was 2023 kind of eh? Because A was my favorite of last year. I mean, for the after party, for those of their patrons, I'll grab the A batch and try that, but yeah. Oh, so System Trend really liked A123. Yeah, was my favorite of last year too. But the B and the C just are not doing it. I like the proof and that I love the nose on it. It's good. I would buy it. I'd pay the price for it. It's a great value, but I don't think it even compares to the B524 or the B522. Both of the 2023 ones we have tonight are a bit of a miss. Now, A is the exception. It was one of my top whiskeys of last year. Don't have it in front of me, but I'll probably drink some on our after party hangout for patrons. By the way, if you guys want to get in on that, you can join patreon.com/bourbonbites. Join us over on our Discord server in the after party hangout room for everyone $10 and up. We have a great time. We also have a movie night for everyone $5 and up. We just did our May movie night, which was Caddyshack. I've never seen Caddyshack, but I'm actually glad I did. You know, it's not my type of movie normally, but it had some very, very funny moments. So Really enjoyed that. If you guys want to get in on things like that, just check out patreon.com/bourbonbites. You can support the channel for as little as $2 a month. Appreciate your support there on YouTube with your memberships and just being a subscriber. And most of all, hitting that little like button down there. Although I assumed it was down there. Donnie said it's moved, so maybe it's over here. I don't know. YouTube layout has apparently changed. So wherever the like button is, hit it. But that does it for tonight. Thank y'all so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm going to be out of town from Saturday through next Wednesday. We'll be back live again next Thursday. Have a couple ideas on floating. I might be doing a Scotch stream. I actually got a full core lineup from a brand that I'm really excited about. So we'll see that. We might do that. We might do a sample stream. I don't know. Depends how I feel after drinking a lot in Mexico because wedding anniversary and all. So cheers, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe. Call an Uber or call a friend if you're out drinking. Your life's not worth risking. Not saying don't have a good time. Have a great time, but drink responsibly. And until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites. Cheers, and I'll see y'all next Thursday. Bye.